upstreaming quality farming inputs, easing the resource use efficiency and accessibility for farmers. And for this, I would like to invite on the galaxy of the dignitaries on the dais, the chairperson of this particular session. He is the Agriculture Commissioner, Ministry of Agriculture and Farmers Welfare, Government of India, Dr. P.K. Singh. Please put your hands together for him. I welcome you, sir, on the stage. President, Global Corporate and Industry Affairs, UPL, Mr. Sagar Kaushik. I invite you also on the stage, sir. Please welcome him with your round of claps. And with your welcome, I would like to invite on the stage the Director, Agricultural Biotech, Alliance for Agri Innovation Federation of Seed Industry of India, Dr. Ratna Kumria. Please put your hands together for him and welcome. Ma'am is here. Also, I would like to invite on the stage the Strategic Advisor and Senior Vice President, Gen Irrigation Systems Limited, Mr. Surinder Makhija. Please welcome him on the stage. And yes, in this galaxy, we are also joined by the Lead Government Affairs, Public Affairs, Science and Sustainability, Bayer Crop Science Limited, Dr. Sangeeta Mendirata. Please put your hands together for her welcome as well. So now as we have the galaxy over here and we are going to initiate this session, so I would like to place a request to Dr. P.K. Singh. So would you like to initiate this session or you would like to conclude after all the speakers are done? Would you like to initiate, sir? Let's have a round of applause for Dr. P.K. Singh, the chairperson and the key speaker of this session, Agriculture Commissioner, Ministry of Agriculture and Farmers Welfare, Government of India. Let's have a round of applause for him.
So friends, ladies and gentlemen, this is an opportunity for me to just put my viewpoints here among you so that this perspective of this session can be seen in that way only. The session is integrating the perspectives of the industry, then what government is doing, all those things are there. So I usually try to begin my delivery of thoughts from the fact that we in agriculture, if we see, we are here for 25,000 or more than that years, we are doing agriculture. So that is the time from when this agriculture developed from the Prakriti, and then as based on our Sanskriti, we developed it, evolved it, and now several Vikritis are coming up. So all our thought, all our schemes, all our processes, development of new varieties that is based on Sanskriti. We needed basmati for the pulao, so we developed that. We needed something for drought area, so we developed that. So like that, so everything was derived from Prakriti. Then several diseases came, several insect pests came, then climate change is happening. All those things are going on. And so we are taking care of those Vikritis also. So many of the agrochemical industry is on the Vikritis. So most of the seed industry is for Sanskriti, So, like that, the thing is going on. So if we take the total time period of 25,000 years plus 75 years, we can keep that separate. So that 25,000 years, we were evolving with the Prakriti and Sanskriti. And now we are developing with our policies. And so evolution means we are in accordance with the whatever natural laws are there. We are always following that. Only then we are evolving. And then that is the traditional things are coming up. And then now we are going in for development. So development is something like policy oriented, something like demand driven. So many things are coming up in there. So if we see those 25,000 years, okay, evolution is now over. Now after independence, this 75 years, yes, we have developed a lot. evolution phase is over. Now we are developing. So developing means now we are producing 315 million tons of food grain and all those things. No food grain, rice, wheat, everywhere we are again. So what is static in that? Millets. So coarse grains, which were originally they were evolving with wheat and rice, but now we are leaving them. Somehow development and Sanskriti has not favored those, and so we have lost that. Now we are again after that 75. Now we are thinking for next 25. That is Amrit Kaal. What PM is saying all the time. Uh, Raju Sabji also told that. So we have पंच प्रण पांच प्रण करने हैं ना. Those पंच प्रण that is goal of developed India. Then remove of any trace of colonial mindset. So we have to go for again that Prakriti Sanskriti thing. No, we have to forget this kind of market driven or something has to be there, but we have to again think on those lines also. We cannot lose that tradition of 25,000 years. That is what is the take here. Then our pride in our roots is also to be again refurbished or refurnished like that. No? Then unity. Unity, we can again talk in a different way. Now it is what he has also said, integration. Integration is also unity, integrating the things, the technologies like that. And then the sense of beauty. That is most important. A agrochemical coming in the market, we lose the sense of using it and then use it blatantly in the fields, losing our fertility, then many things we lose with that. So that sense of duty for the citizens, it is not for only for the Samvidhan or something. It is for everything. We should not pollute. We should not go for anything which destruct our natural life. So again, Honorable PM says that we have to think that this is our century. This 21st century is our century. India has to become Vishwaguru again. So at least in agriculture, we have a tradition of 25,000 years. Why can't we not become Vishwaguru in agriculture? And that is where he is saying that yes, we should take up whatever development is going on everywhere, we can bring it here and then we can make it its own. So many religions came, we make it our own. So many food is coming, even Chinese food, you cannot taste Chinese, but if it is Indian Chinese, yes, it, it suits our palate. No? So like that, we can have. So in next 25 years, that is Amrit Kal period, from 140 crores, 140 crores of population, we have to go up to 163 crores or something like that. Again, food, 100 million tons more will be required. And all those things. Agriculture means not only agriculture in that sense that we have to focus again not only on production, there will be change in consumption patterns. Sugar, yes, the product almost we have reached the what we need in 100 after 50 years. Also, we can produce it as of now. We can produce that much of sugar, but consumption is now getting down. So we have to shift. See the patterns have to change. Ethanol production from sugar is coming up. So new things, new technologies are coming up. Similarly, if we see the key for next 25 years will be, as he said, integration, sustenance, and profitability. All three. We cannot go beyond that. That should be the bottom line for anything. Whatever we decide, it should not be below that. That integration, sustenance, and profitability. All three should be taken together. So, and last thing, what we think in the end, what we focus is ease of living. Ease of living with more than 80 years of longevity. We should go for 100. That is what has been defined in our religious all those scriptures that 100 साल का जीवन होता है 25 25 25 25. At least we can talk of 80 as of now. And for that ease of living, what we need is availability, affordability, and all those things. Nutrition, everything will be required. It should be safe food, it should be nutritious food, it should be cheap, or it should be affordable to all. Then only we can increase the longevity and reduce these विकृति should be reduced ना, बीमारी कम हो, कुछ हो, सब इन सबको कम करना है. तो अब इसके लिए जो पॉलिसी, whatever policies are required, whatever thinkings are going on, whatever initiatives are being taken by government, everybody knows. I don't want to at present delve upon those. Digital agriculture and all those are coming up. Direct benefit transfer now going directly to the farmers. Suppose we have to change something, so some service provider is now coming, someone providing this drone-based display, and then they want that we should help them. So, what we think, we can create a wallet in the wallet. In DBT, if we can create a wallet for the service providers, that farmer can only pay this much of amount to service provider if he provides the service. So that kind of things, these are little initiatives, little modification in our policy, we can do that. But that should come with the time. Every time this will come. For e-Naam is coming up, now marketing, one India, one market. Then now just on 17th they will be inaugurating 600 shops for this one-stop shop for fertilizers. So that is going on. So many things are coming up. Integration. This is all integration, easy availability of the inputs, easily availability of the market for the farmers. But here there is one crux. No, just a point I can highlight here, that ease of doing business from our side is for farmers. He should get everything easily. He should get those things in a those ways. But ease of doing business for business may be a little different. Ease should be between the business. There should be healthy competition. There should not be any undue demands. All those things should be there. And so ease of doing business is a very broad concept. So we should focus on ease of living. It should be ease of living for business, big business houses also. It should be ease of living. There should be easy, no cure cases should be there. All those, we should focus on that. How that should be there, that associations like this can come up in a very good way. We can think of mega infrastructure facilities, mega markets, mega something which just like FPOs, they are coming up for farmers for production, for marketing, for business, that kind of thing should come. Mega infrastructure. Suppose the FPO is producing 10,000 quintals of say something special dal or something high protein, something like that. So where he is going to market, where he is going to get it processed, he cannot invest so much in that for processing. So there may be 10 FPOs. If we in marketing or something, some mega system is there. So processing, marketing, export, everything can be lined up in a chain way. So that kind of thinking should come from the associations, should go for that only. That is my view. I don't know how much it will succeed, but that should come up. Mega things should now come up in the future. So this is, I can speak on unnecessary policies and all those things, but as of now, let us try to think about how can we, in such associations, through those mega things, IPOs and all those, how can we become Wish Guru in next 25 years? So that again, ease of living, Sarve Bhavantu Sukhina, Sarve Santu Niramaya, Sarve Bhadrani Pashyantu, Ma Kashyantu Bhag Bhave, something that kind of feeling for all, we can become Wish Guru for all. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. And now I would like to invite President Global Corporate and Industry Affairs UPL, Mr. Sagar Kaushik, for the address. Please welcome him on the podium.
respected Dr. P.K. Singh, Agriculture Commissioner, Government of India, Ministry of Agriculture, my fellow panelists here, ladies and gentlemen, still good morning. And I would just like to pick up the thread from what Dr. Singh made the initial remark, which has actually a lot of thought process, which comes from a historical perspective, a foundation part of the nation. I think he has described it very well. And I will really go to the next step. And prior to this session, Rajiv Kapoor brought out the efficiency part, that how important is the efficiency of the resources, especially focusing on agriculture. Now, I'm going to talk on how part. That yes, concept is good, philosophy is good, but sir, you mentioned Prakriti, Vikriti, and Sanskriti. Now the question also comes that how do we really make this into the today's context? So I'll just go to the next slide, and I'll just not bother about too much on UPL. I think we know about it. We are present in 138 countries, and we are number one in the biological globally. So those are some of the important highlights for this meeting. Now I come to this particular point, sir. Sir, we are working in agriculture, and we talk about the climate change, we talk about the carbon footprint and so many other things, which are sectoral agnostics. Several sectors they face. But we are lucky that we are in agriculture where we have an equation to solve. And we know that at the end of it, there is a net zero equation. And that is what I want to highlight today. So you see on my left-hand side, these are the negative aspects, which, sir, you gave the name Vikrati, for example. There is fertilizer. We need fertilizer. We can say, well, we don't know which 30% we need and which 70% we don't need. I think we need the technology to differentiate that part. So the big difference will happen there. Then we have the water also as an input, how to make that more efficient. And I will show you alarming pictures that what the technologies could do to change the game. And very soon I will come to that. And obviously, in terms of the climate change, we hear that the agriculture per se, whether it is rice or whether it is livestock, the methane emissions, nitrous oxide, CO2 also to some extent. So, you know, the sulfides, etc. You have so much of, the input side which can manage that from the resource efficiency point of view, the negative aspect of it. Then you see on the right-hand side that what agriculture does. So you see here we have primarily the microbes, the microbes which are present, the natural microbes which are present in agriculture. They are able to, again with the technological progress, there are now technologies available where the nitrogen can be actually absorbed also from the atmosphere. It's not only the nitrogen fixation, but you can fix the nitrogen from the air. And these are this is the science with the evidence. So the technology again can accelerate the whole process to happen, that we reach toward something which is called net zero equation for agriculture. Agriculture contributes about 18 to 19.5% of the GDP of the country. But we also have to remember the contribution to the environment footprint is also 18% from agriculture. So therefore, more the production takes place, more the resource use takes place. I think today there may be a linear relation, but we have a great possibility to change that. Now go to the next point on my right-hand side, which is the CO2 capture. Now CO2 capture, I mean, this is the only industry that does it. I know that there are some new technologies which will be evolved or which are still in the process. that will be able to capture the technology, the CO2 capture can happen. But the natural phenomena, and if there are 3 crops in a year, so 3 times in a year the CO2 capture takes place, so that happens through agriculture. And here also the technology can change the pathway of the photosynthesis. You can convert the rice crop from C3 to C4, and they can change the productivity of rice to the highest level of almost 12 tons. So the technology intervention is really going to create the big difference and to finally arrive at the net zero equation for agriculture. And it could be actually much more positive, which is for the environment that agriculture can do. We are familiar with the carbon sinks, which all the time in the news we cover that how important is the forest existing forest, afforestation, and forest-related the carbon sinks. So they are really the good sources that the carbon level is maintained in the soil and continuously is converted into the organic carbon that actually the food needs. So that's one area. Go to the next slide, please. And I'm just giving one example. Of course, the technology happens to be from the UPL side. And you will see here, I don't know, the slide has not come. Yeah. So we have this technology, sir, which is the super absorbent of water. And as per the Indian Institute of Sugarcane, Lucknow, this product is able to save 7 lakh liters of water per acre. And you know, like rice, sugarcane is the water-guzzling crop. And just to make it more dramatic at the bottom of it, I have written how many crores of liters of water can be saved, because this technology basically retains water around the root system. And the beauty is that it releases the water when there is an osmotic pressure coming from the roots. And when it rains again it swells and is able to retain the water. And within 4 to 6 months' time, it becomes part of the mulch, because the raw material to manufacture it is coming from corn or any other natural starch. So the technology part also the solution. So therefore, agriculture is also a big solution to the whole climate-related changes which we will be experiencing. Go to the next slide, please. Sir, it's also very important that, and you are going to be, and guide us in future, that the R&D at the smaller level, at a very high level, at the invention level, or at the innovation level, how it is going to bring the desired fruits. And I'm giving you examples with evidences today in this slide. Look at some of the agrochemicals, the crop protection products. So you start with insecticide. I am giving the example that endosulfan, the dose, it started with the fungicides first. The dose, 20 years ago, the products which were launched were 1.5 kilo per hectare. And then the triazoles came with 250 grams. And then comes the strobilurins, which is actually just 125 grams. So which means the load of the chemicals, this industry through the R&D has been able to reduce on the canopy and also the soil. So that's a big change which we are doing, and it goes in the direction of the resource efficiency. So it starts from the research. We have to choke the research, divert the research, so that the researchers are also, they can't do the research on their own as per the previous research targets. Of course, the disruptive research are welcome, but I think a targeted research also need to be, applied in that direction. And there are other products like if you go down to herbicide, for example, we started with atrazine. What those used to be there, now metribuzine, and now we have the sulfur-ureas, which are actually some even 40 grams, 20 grams. So I think there is a big role the R&D has done, and also India is the base for the manufacturing processes, the innovative processes. So we have the companies here, not my company, I'm telling, there are other Indian companies and also the companies from abroad. They are able to actually change the processes from the difficult chemistry to the simple, safer chemistry and at a cheaper price. And this is where the manufacturing innovation India would contribute. And not only that, but the profile of the product and the formulation could also be changed. And so that the user, the occupational part of the safety is also ensured, but at the same time, the beneficial insects, etc., are also spared with these applications. And we see, Raju, of course, talked about the drones, and of course, we have also the mechanized sprayers in the field already existing last 6 years. And there also, 1 acre can be sprayed by 7 minutes, in 7 minutes. And you are able to save almost 60-70% of the water. And with the drone, it could be even higher. So the industry is cautious, again, to bring down the use of the resources, including water, just with the new application technologies, which are getting adopted by the farmers pretty quickly. Then, if you go to the next slide, this might also surprise many of us. Our products have solvents. And I don't want to name any company, but just as statistics, a single large agrochemical company used 55 million liters of hydrocarbon-based solvent. And this, I would say, almost 80 to 90% can be changed to the ethanol base, and the ethanol comes from the corn or the grain crops, etc., or the sugarcane side. So you are able to really substitute it with the sustainable processes so that the carbon footprint is absolutely coming down. There are other processes, even the water-based formulations are now available, and we have to focus more. We have to incentivize more so that this change takes place very quickly. So the change of the solvent also can really bring down the load of the sort of resources indirectly here. Now, how do we bring it to a practice at the level of the farmer? Please go to the next slide. So this is very important. It's a slide. I don't know whether it looks too busy, but I think it is very important that our industry has been able to integrate plant health into the crop protection. And bringing it together, we have separated the 3 different components. One is the taking care of the soil health and also the seed at the time of the sowing. So these 2 areas of the soil, with the available now the biological options, you are able to increase the natural microbes in the soil. And also the bioscience or the biological product also give the seed treatment through a process of the treatment itself. So therefore the sowing is much more getting assured, the soil health is also getting much more assured. And then comes the when you protect the yield of the crop. So that time, of course, the traditional chemistry is required at much more favorable dosages, as I explained to you. And finally, we come to the harvesting time. Harvesting time, again, we bring the biological options. And with the biological options, because it is the crop finish time, the residue management becomes very, very important at that time. So the biological options, again, they are able to give the right solution. So if you really take up a program of the existing technologies and the bioscience, the biotechnology together, you are able to create a big, big difference. Go to the next slide. I think this just quickly we will go. I think this is also something that we have to, from the policy point of view, it's an alert. And you know that the crop burning of the rice stubble has already started and will be at its peak perhaps in the next 2 weeks or 3 weeks time prior to the wheat sowing. Go to the next slide. I think last year, I think most of you are aware that how the biologicals have been used to decompose the stubbles from the harvested rice crop. And we have to really once again thank Indian Agriculture Research Institute, IRI, who discovered this technology. And with our collaboration, we were able to scale it up to the digitalization, etc. So a lot of work was done. Go to the next slide, please. I will just try. These are some pictures. Go to the next one. So with this technology, see the outcome. And from today's context, I think the resources, they exist in the soil itself. These stubbles are the resources. And if you are burning them or you are taking them out, I think we have to really see from the policy point of view. Because wherever we were able to decompose these stubbles last year, and we have the data to demonstrate for the next wheat crop, we were able to reduce the fertilizer application between 20 to 25%. So therefore, I think from the science and the evidence to the policy, unless we go to the policy level, I think this whole equation will really not work. So I think agriculture does offer a lot of scope. First of all, to balance its own environment-related footprint, and we do believe that it can further even support the other industry where the opportunity to carbon capture is much less. So thank you very much with this.
Thank you so much, sir. And now I would like to invite the Director, Agricultural Biotech Alliance for Agri Innovation, Federation of Seed Industry of India, Dr. Ratna Kumriya. Yeah, please welcome Dr. Sir.
Almost good afternoon. First, I would like to thank the organizers for giving me this opportunity. I am privileged to represent Federation of Seed Industry of India. This is an association of research-based companies which are committed to investing in research and bringing out innovative products. This esteemed gathering doesn't need to be convinced that all agriculture begins with the seed. And if you can improve the seed, you can, it's the basis for improving all kinds of agriculture. India has actually used seed, improved it, and has become, a food surplus from a food deficit nation. So, as I said, India does not need to be convinced that all good things in agriculture have their origin in seed. And I represent that industry, which is diligently working on improving seed. We, in this particular year, have seen the devastation that climate change has caused. We're still reading it, right? We still have under rains in October. And this year, we lost almost 12% of our wheat production thanks to the high temperatures, which was unpredicted and severe. So this is a new reality that we have to deal with. A farmer in his field has to deal with many challenges anyways, the resource issues, the issues of pests, diseases, and over and above, now we have climate change, which has not only, it's so unpredictable that the farmer doesn't have a good control over it. And then we have the other issues related with it. Because of the climate change, our pests have become more severe and unpredictable. We have new pests arising. Our primary pests that we were controlling have become secondary pests, and a lot of other changes are happening. There's a study which says that because of the climate change and the change in temperature, pests have got the capacity to spread out 3 kilometers every year. So 3 extra kilometers of spread of a pest is going to devastate the crop area more and more. So all of it can be addressed and is being addressed by improvements in seeds. As we talked in the morning, all of it can be dealt with the technology. We have the technology. India has the diversity of crops, diversity of germplasm, the skill set, the competence, the infrastructure all across the nation. We are a country with immense diversity in crops as well as agroclimatic zones. That brings us challenges in managing agriculture, but it is an opportunity that can be used for improving our seed production as well as our agriculture diversity. So all that is available to us. All that we need to do is streamline the process. It is ongoing. Is it all done? No, lots thing needs to be done. So I think that is where all the stakeholders have to come together. The seed group has to talk to the fertilizer group, and the fertilizer group has to talk to the pesticide group. I think all of them coming together. We have a lot of policy support from the government of India, but the policy implementation is in the hand of the industry and the other stakeholders. And I think that is where we all need to come together and move forward. So, I don't think I need to convince you. We have the diversity, the competence, the skill set for improving our crops and taking it forward. I think the next step by improving agriculture would be to bring awareness to the farmer. The farmer is the one facing the challenges. I think he should be made aware of the options they have in technology, in inputs, in seed, that can be used, because a farmer knows his field, the farmer knows his agricultural zone the best. So if he is aware of the options they have of technology and improvements, they are the best judge to use what they want and when and how. So I think that is another aspect that we have to pay attention to, streamlining and creating awareness so that the remotest farmer knows what all is available in the kitty to be used by him. Another thing which I think seed industry is paying attention to, and I'm very proud that we are the first industry to really take it forward, is carbon credits. In this era of climate change, I think one more important, very important thing is sustainability. As my previous colleague, speaker said, that agriculture is an industry which generates a lot of GHGs, greenhouse gases. But we are the ones which can manage the carbon sink as well as lower the GHGs. So sustainable agriculture is where we are again putting our stress on as a seed industry, and carbon credits is what we think will motivate our farmers to take up sustainable agriculture and improve their income. I think that's something which will be a motivation as well as a credit to the farmer, who's the one who's doing all the hard work and taking the brunt of the climate change and the yield losses and everything. So this is summing up, streamlining awareness, and I think giving credit to the carbon credits to the farmer for sustainability. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you so much, ma'am. And now it's the time to hear the wisdom words from Strategic Advisor and Senior Vice President, Jain Irrigation Systems Limited, Mr. Surinder Pakheja. Please put your hands together for him.
A very good morning, Honorable Dr. P.K. Singh, dignitaries in the dais, delegates. I wish to thank Ashokan for the opportunity they have given me, and I'll be brief as possible. Can I have my presentation, please, so that's faster and easier. I represent Jain Irrigation System, which is the largest micro irrigation company globally. And we are not only in the field of irrigation, there's a lot more to Jain irrigation than irrigation. We are also one of the largest producers of processed foods, tissue culture plants, and basically we are in business of creating value chain around our irrigation systems. I start my presentation always with this slide. And previous one was the cause, and this is the consequence. In case of agriculture, as per the UN report, the maximum damage or risk to agriculture comes from drought, and that is a global phenomenon. In India, about 82% of water, all available water is used in agriculture. And This agriculture happens to be an elephant in the room, and I don't think this luxury can continue for a long time because more water is required to cover the unirrigated areas. So we have to make sure that we use every drop of water very judiciously and we stick to the principle of per drop, more crop. Water is a natural capital asset that binds all other natural assets together. Now, the main fundamental principle about which I'm going to talk today is make agriculture science-based and technology-driven. Science, we are talking about good quality of seeds, better variety of pesticides, fertilizers, and other similar efforts being made by scientists. And technology is the one which actually delivers this to optimize the results. Why we talk about water? Basically, is that we are now at the cusp of a revolution. We're talking about Make in India, we're talking about PM Awas Yojana, drinking water mission, water at every house, India at $5 trillion economy, Atmanirbhar Bharat, and acquire leadership in the service sector. So everywhere in each of these, we require more water. Now, this is the key statement that sustained availability of water will hold key to success of the most ambitious initiatives. There is no denying that even if all other key elements are in place, sustained supply of water will create a major pitfall to the growth momentum of Atmanirbhar Bharat. So what we are talking in agriculture now basically is that agriculture is all about water, and without water we can't do any agriculture. Climate change is steering us in our risk. We know that basically the yields are falling and there are problems which are now coming up in the form of too hot, too cold, too dry, or too wet. And this was a theme, in fact, of one of the seminars I attended in Nebraska in 2012, and I can see it coming every day now. Now, what is important is that we are talking about enhancing water use efficiency or enhancing the input use efficiency. Today, everyone in the industry, be it steel, be it added drinks, everybody, or I'm sure your industry also, is talking about producing lot more with lot less. And that is the fundamental principle of frugality. And we have to start thinking in terms of producing a lot more with lot less. How can we do lot more with lot less if we continue to use the traditional age-old methods of flood irrigation or furrow irrigation? So one of the key factors that I am today focusing on is micro irrigation, that's basically a drip irrigation system. There's one country I really admire a great deal. जब जेब में पैसे कम होते हैं ना, तब हम बड़े संभाल के खर्च करते हैं. At the end of the month, also the same position is there. And similarly, the country called Israel is one that has taken leadership in this field. They have shown the world how we can produce a lot more with lot less of water, lot less of fertilizer, lot less of land, labor. And all this is possible because they have made agriculture science-based and technology-driven. And the technology that they use is drip irrigation system in most cases. I'm sure you can see that in this case, the land is not being irrigated, the crop is being irrigated, the crop is being watered. And in between the crop, there are no weeds and the ample space for photosynthesis and sunlight to come. Various photographs of drip irrigated crops, and they're all Indian conditions, not taken from outside. I don't need to say anything about it. Now, the growth is uniform, the quality is amazing, and the productivity level is high, and we're using less water, lot less fertilizer, lot less labor, lot less pesticide, lot less weedicide in this case. In dryland farming areas, this is a classical case of using drip irrigation system with plastic mulch. Without plastic mulch, you can use also the other bio mulch. And this is another example of a frugal theory. Now, what exactly is the Israelis doing, or now we are doing at Jan Irrigation? Because Jan Irrigation purchased two companies in Israel called Nandan. We are in fact the largest investor of any Indian company into Israel. Now, when they devised drip irrigation system, it was just an accidental discovery in the late 60s or so, when they found that the crop growing near some leakage was very good, and they devised a drip irrigation system. Initially, drip irrigation system was deemed to be a water-saving device. But over the years, combined with the science of fertigation, better crop seeds, better seed variety, the tissue culture plants, as well as better crop management, the yield have become very, very high. Now, this is a fertigation. The top figure shows the fertigation method that we are using currently, quantitative fertigation, that we apply the fertilizers in the field. But other is the proportional fertigation, that every irrigation that water is applied through drip irrigation, a small quantity of fertilizer, micronutrients are applied along with that. The results are amazing. Now, this is a chart. I think I'll just leave it over here because time is less. But how exactly the application of fertilizers is done? In India, we have only urea as a soluble fertilizer, but slowly and slowly, I know that companies have come up and they are making other forms of fertilizer also, soluble fertilizers available. And this is the recommended dose of fertilizer for sugarcane. Now you see that this is being done as per the plant growth and with every application of water, practically every day or every second day fertilizer is applied to the plants. This is the automatic fertilizer application system. I think this is one of the biggest discoveries or innovations done in the field of agriculture. And this is one area where a lot of automation has taken place. The results are evident. Now, what exactly calibrated application of water and micronutrients and fertilizers give us? That is, either we can have an early or delayed harvest. We can have a better market price, because when all the crop comes to the market at the same time, generally that happens in India, it's a pain point for the farmers. So when, in case of Israel, I have seen that from the greenhouses or from the shade net houses, they're able to harvest the crop, the tomato crop, for almost 7 months. Whereas in India, they have to vacate the field, harvest the crop in 15 days' time, which means that at that time, the prices of the crop goes down tremendously, and that hurts the farmer. So calibrated application of water, the calibrated application of micronutrients and fertilizers enable a very calibrated growth of the crop also. I'm told that we have become now the largest exporter of cucumber in the Middle East or in India. Is all possible because of the farmers around Delhi are growing a lot of cucumber using the micro irrigation system and greenhouse cultivation. Drone, Rajubhai has spoken about, and this is one area this is now being addressed. I'm very glad that the leadership of our Prime Minister has shown that this area, the drone technology will be available. It's already actually available, but on a larger scale in this country. Innovation is required. Land is getting smaller and smaller, either with the successive family transition So what we need is the farmer to be able to produce a lot more with lot less of water, lot less of fertilizer, lot less of labor, but also lot less of land available. Now, ultra high density plantation is one which is being shown over here. In my childhood, we saw that आम के बगीचे में 40 फुट के पेड़ दूर से पेड़ होते हैं. The distance between the mango trees was about 40 feet, 12 meter, 15 meter, 18 meters sometimes. And then now we have a planting system where the trees, mango trees are grown at a distance of 2.5 meters apart. And the number of plants in this case is almost 10 times more or 20 times more than the conventional or traditional method of cultivation. So this is one area, this is made possible only by use of science-based and technology-driven drip irrigation system and fertigation system and cultivar applications. Now this is a 3-month-old crop of mango, which is actually yielding a commercial production of mangoes. The first flush comes in second year time, but that is generally wasted for economical reason, and this commercial crop is taken in third year time. And it's an amazing concept. This is being now developed in other crops also. In case of sugarcane, somebody mentioned about sugarcane being a water guzzling crop. Drip irrigation has proven to be a boom. Drip irrigation, along with innovative planting methods and micro application of fertilizer, generally it is done by subsurface drip irrigation system. It's been used in Israel and in Brazil for almost 10 to 12 years now. And in India also, the yield level has gone up from 30 to 35 tons per acre to as much as about 120 tons per acre. Thank you so much. Okay. So that's it, and I think this was my last slide. We're adopting a drip irrigation system on sugarcane crop as well as rice, and you can see the results are tremendous. We use less water and produce 3 or 4 times more. Rice is another crop we are addressing, and just to give you an example, that what is the value of water? The bottle of water that I drink costs me 20 rupees per liter as such. But if we use that parameter, the price of water used in 1 acre of land will be 120,000 to 150,000 per acre or so. So I think I'll just stop over here and leave these recommendations to your perusal. And that's it. Thank you very much for a very patient listening.
Just basically, I mentioned that productivity is a liter, but there's a value of irrigation of 1 paisa liter. Liters like that. 1 paisa liter costs a lakh and 20. Not what it is.
Thank you, sir. And now I would like to invite Dr. Sangeeta Mediratta, Lead Government Affairs, Public Affairs, Science and Sustainability, Bayer Crop Science Limited. Please put your hands together for her.
Good morning, good afternoon, everyone. Respected Commissioner Agriculture, Government of India, Ministry of Agriculture, my fellow panelists on the dais, and the esteemed delegates. So the topic is already, I think, very well covered in the last panel and this panel. The India's agri inputs industry, when we talk about the agri input industry, it's 3 key subsectors, mainly the crop protection, the fertilizer, and the seeds. As per the very recent, I just want to give you some figures that the India agri input industry at this point in time is US dollar about 5 billion, and this is tendency to grow to about $8.1 billion US dollars by 2025. And when we talk about the domestic consumption out of this overall $5 billion industry, it's about US $3 billion. So there is a huge scope not only for production but also export, and that is very visible from this year's export target which the government of India has already achieved. And with more APIDA policies and government of India policy which we are planning to kind of also with the help of public and private going to achieve. Out of these three key agri inputs, that is seeds and fertilizer and also pesticides, when we talk about the agri input cost, so most of the time there is I think a big concern which is raised at many times that the seed cost or the chemical cost is substantial. But when we look at the data which is coming out from very credible sources, this is only 25%. And the 75% of the cost is from the other operating things, which is mainly labor. So 65% of actually the cost is coming through the labor operations, and this is due to lot of mechanization and also technology. So some of us have already talked about a lot of technological innovations which are very much required in this whole agriculture scenario for sustainability. There is a need for not only resource use efficiency, but also a lot of technological innovations and use mechanical instruments to drive this. I will also give a little bit on what are the crop losses every year in India, only due to the pest. I'm not talking about the processing or storage kind of a thing. So about 25%, 15 to 20%, 5% of the crop loss is estimated to be due to the pests. And there are several diseases due to the inadequate crop protection agrochemicals which we have at this point in time. There are only 290, I think as some mentioned, and globally there are about 700. So there is a huge gap in some of the regulatory frameworks which we have at this point in time. So when we talk about doubling farmers' income, when we talk about making India, I think we should also give emphasis to policies and regulations which also strengthen the innovations and manufacturing of these chemistries in India as well. With this, I think I'll first go to my first slide, please. Can you have my slide? Thank you. So I work in the Bayer Crop Sciences. Bayer is a life sciences company, and there are three divisions mainly. So what we are talking about right now is the crop sciences division. Besides, we have also pharma and also consumer health. The main thing I wanted to show in this slide is Bayer's contribution in R&D alone is more than 10% of our total annual turnover. So this at this point in time, the figure is 5.2 billion euros, which goes in our R&D globally. I'll come to India. So India, the company is operating for the last 125 years. 1896 it was started in India, and we touch about 30 million farmers through various technologies, our seeds, our crop protection, and also the tailored solutions which Bayer offers. Talking about the priorities for Indian agriculture, I think most of us have already listened about the crop productivity, farmer profitability, and also farmer prosperity. Under the crop productivity, I think we need to think about how food security through resource efficient agri inputs can be enhanced, and this will be happening through government policies. There are several policies which are already in place, creating awareness and also implementation of such different methodologies is very important. I give an example of some of the recent initiatives of government. One is the FPO, which is aggregation of various pharma units. So access of agri inputs is very important. We are only relying on very, I would say, previously conventional methods of distribution of agri inputs. The reach of internet at this point in time and also the mobile phone is touching more than 500 million Indian users. So if farmer has the access to internet, then access of technology and also the input through these apps should be very easier. This is happening. There are a lot of e-commerce platforms which are being implemented by several companies. But the use is to have that last door connect of distribution of this, I would say, agri input, be it seed or any other fertilizer, to the farmer's gate, linking the value chain from the farm to the farm gate to the end user. Another initiative of where is better life farming, and there are about 2,000 centers where Bayer is already operating in various states of India, more than 13 states. So last 3 years this initiative has been started, and we have about 1,300 centers in UP alone. One of the examples is the chili production, which we have enhanced the farmers' income by about 2 to 3 times through better genetics, through better technologies, and also linking them to the food value chain partners who can kind of access or who could take the output of such farmers, which is a major hurdle at this point in time. The second point is farm profitability, which will come through the linkages which I just talked about, and also the farmer prosperity, which is will improve the livelihood and also the rural prosperity of the farm. Some of the key things, and I think our previous commissioner is also here. A lot of work and discussions have already happened in terms of how can we accelerate the CP innovation rate, how can we bring the new chemistries into India, and we are really kind of at this point in time challenged in testing the coded molecules. So the import of such sample imports which are in the very initial stage, and this timeline is very important so that the simultaneous testing can take place in various corners of the companies. Most of the companies are global companies. So there's a lot of cost involved in moving these materials and also testing these materials. So if this happens timely, the innovation will also be achieved very timely. So India needs to participate in all these high pace, early phase research and testing cycles for new active ingredient production, which is very much need of the hour. Once I've talked about resource efficiency and all, I think this will be really important for India to have broader portfolio available to Indian farmers for the sustainable agriculture. Drone, everybody has touched upon. Where is touching about 70 million smallholders across Asia Pacific through drones, and this is not only for spraying skills that I'm talking. This is also about having the imaging. So a lot of data can be captured, which can be like the soil health data, the crop stage data, and also the pest incidence data, which which can be kind of processed to give a report to the farmer that how much will be the productivity and what time they need to spray and what could be the threshold of incidence if it does not spray. So I think this is a very disruptive technology which is introduced very fast in India thanks to all the regulators, Ministry of Agriculture, Ministry of Civil Aviation, and for now implementing the commercialization paths also open, and with the startup companies and also the drone service providers, we are actively working to put this technology into Indian space. One of the very key initiative on sustainability, I think this is a very key topic, and especially in the wake of the pandemic last 3 years, and I also touched upon the labor issue which we are having at this point in time. So one of the major initiatives which I was working on is implementing new agronomic practices for rice. Rice is a very important crop in South Asia, and as all of us are aware that 44 million hectares is rice. the acres are going to be the same, but how do we produce or sustain the rice with less resource efficiency? The water levels at the tables in Punjab and Haryana are already dwindling. We are all aware about it. We talked about crop diversification. We talked about having some more genetics which could be, appropriate for drought tolerance. So with all this innovation, we are working with our partners, huge landscape. This is not only about carbon footprint alone. So there is a 30% reduction in the weight if we use direct seeded rice compared to the conventional TPR. These experiments are already piloted in India by ICR for the last 10 years and now been done very, I would say, aggressively by several companies, and also Bayer is trying to have a resource efficiency built in for rice sustainable agriculture, and also incentivizing the farmers for adopting the new regime and having an ecological, social, and also environmental benefits. With this, I think, thank you very much.
Thank you so much, ma'am, and it was really a wonderful session. So I would like to thank all the dignitaries on the dais for making it so much wisdom-proof. And I would like to request you all if we can have a group photograph. So yeah, our photographer is here to capture the moment. And let's hear it for this galaxy. Let's have a round of applause for all these dignitaries in this session. And friends, if you have some questions, so yes, we are going to join in for the networking tea break. So in that tea break, our dignitaries will be there with us.